Hello, everybody. I'm hoping that we can see what's going on here. Let me see comments. Hopefully, it's on all of our pages. I'm just going to double check and see what we've got going on here. Yep. We are on there. Perfect. I'm just going to. And my son's calling. Yeah. Hang on here. Welcome, everybody. Air. Welcome to Renee Live, everybody. I seem to be lagging a little bit, and I don't know why. I'm right near the router. How crazy is this?
Not so crazy, because it is at a
Well,
different time.
right? We have the new moon tonight, and we have not only the new moon, but we're entering Mercury retrograde.
Yes, and the solar eclipse.
And the solar eclipse. So everything's going to be kind of funky, I guess. I don't know. Woo. Welcome, Holly. Tonight's guest is Holly. Holly Mullins. She's an intuitive healer, and she is also known as Healing the Healer. The page that she has on Facebook. And Holly has done some really amazing things. Holly, I'm like so impressed. I mean, we met in person. We have met in person, so people don't maybe realize that. But we have, and I'm like really excited about that and glad that we did. Because it was really a fun time. We had a really good time. I had an event in November about 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, Auburn, New York, and Holly was one of the special guests there at the event. So it was a lot of fun. We had a really good time and a great weekend. It was just wild. It was really wild,
I
but we
love
had a good time. So I have met Holly in person. Holly is a soul sister of mine. We have a lot in common, and I'm so glad that we can share this time together with all of you and see where this leads tonight. But I just want to say that kale has more nutrition than anything else.
nice.
The video.
Yes, yes. The food spiritual. I was like, oh God, that's me. I'm like, let's talk about your problems. Like you're reacting that way because of this and that. And I swear that's how I am, but I'm not that bad. Like I'm not like the person who says, yeah, no, I don't correct people. Okay. I let people, because I don't like, I can say things wrong. I don't expect anybody to correct me because you know what I'm talking about at the end of the day.
Yeah, I know. It's like it's not worth it, right? It's just not with how
No,
crazy everything is nowadays. I mean, it's not worth it.
no.
I like peace of mind. I don't like drama.
Any kind of negative energy that comes my way, I'm like, I'm going to shut that down. But in
Yeah,
my mind, I'm thinking you're doing this because you're deflecting because there's stuff in you need to heal.
yeah. Yeah, nope, I totally get it. I totally get it. And we discuss things like, you know who you can talk to. You know what I'm saying? When, as a matter of fact, I'm just gonna unplug my Alexa. um, you know who you can talk to and stuff about different things that everybody's like-minded, and I think you find your tribe after a while, and
Yes.
it's such a good feeling.
God, it
Such
is.
a good.
Like you think you know friendships before, but it's like a deeper friendship. It's one of those friendships that you don't have to nurture constantly. It's one of those
Right.
where you just know the connection is real and you don't have to be at each other's hind end to feel it. It's just a collective energy.
Yeah, definitely. And I think more so now, more people are awakening, not woke, but they're awakening to, how things are supposed to be and how people, it is about love and it is about compassion and it is about caring about others and helping each other. And I'm a little congested. I'm sorry. Hopefully the medicine will kick in, but I've had a cold. We had like in the 80s all last week, which I was grateful for because I had the week off. we go back to work and it's like in the 40s and 50s and
Yeah.
raining. I'm in and out of the hot kitchen and at work, and I'm running into the walk-in freezers and the cooler and yeah. So and I've been rained on and
Yeah. That switch up in weather will do it to you. It's awful.
yeah, yeah. And it's supposed to be in the 80s tomorrow, and it's
Nice.
supposed to be 70 something on Saturday, and then we're back down into the low 50s.
Yeah, we're supposed to have a cold front coming in too. It must be one of the winters, I'm assuming.
Could be. It could be. So I apologize if I sound stuffy.
You don't. You
But
sound fine.
okay, thank you. But we were talking the other day on the phone and how just everything has changed and how you just like I said, you're finding your tribe, you're finding your people now. And it's really important to be able to do that because we're going to need to band together.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the calling. Anybody who's in this collective group, if you're watching this and you're resonating with it, then you just know. Like, people don't realize how many times we've questioned our sanity. And every time spirit has been like, boom, like there's no way that this amount of people on a collective level could be thinking and channeling the same thing and all be crazy. Sorry, but no.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole thing. And and there are others that are they're hearing different, whether they're hearing different or they're going based off of emotion and ego, which is more how and I'm trying to not trying to say it to like down anybody or diss anybody by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just trying to like, you know, when you go off of your own personal opinion or you go off of, your ego or fear,
Yes.
even because psychic mediums and psychics and intuitives, they experience fear every now and then. But when fear is implanted and you can't step aside from that,
Yes.
this is what happens, and there's the difference.
There is a
Um,
big difference, and you can
there's a
clearly see it.
yeah,
Like we're
and
all continuously healing, and we're always continuously pulling back layers. So
correct,
anybody who tells you that they're completely healed, you can look at them and say, "Well, then you're in denial," because we are continuously healing layers of ourselves because this is what's been imprinted onto us. It's
exactly,
generational. It's for centuries that these belief systems and structures have been planted on us. So now
right,
we are unlearning and we are learning our own power. So when people don't even realize they're living in fear, but they are, and they
right,
don't want to admit it to themselves. So on the spiritual path, you'll see levels of different types of spiritual people, and you can clearly see, like if you step outside of everything, if you're able to do that without having fear, then that's when you know you've reached a pivotal moment on your spiritual path where you can see everything and you perceive it from a place a place of knowing and
right.
interconnection instead of outside sources.
I think the universe was just swallowing me up.
Yes, I've seen that. That was so cute.
That would be Karma. That his name is Karma.
That's so funny that you mentioned that because this is what we're seeing in the collective right now. There's a lot of
Right.
karmic debt being paid right now. So how funny is that? That's spirit, y'all. I'm just saying, this is how it works. Like a lot of karmic debt is being paid off right now, and we are seeing falling of mass. We are seeing people who are getting their karma. I mean, if you so the channel messages that I received not too long ago was that there would be a falling of mass and falling of false prophets. So it's funny that well, not funny. It's right on that we're talking about the ego and spirituality, the ego in just spirituality itself as a whole. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like all this is falling. The masks are falling. People are having to pay their debts for their, just like they've been. It's not like a lot of people are doing this on purpose. They don't know any better. So spirit is really sitting them down and saying, look, you got to pay the piper. You have to heal in here because you're looking out here, but you aren't looking within. And when you look
Exactly.
within and then you can put the pieces together and get out of your own way and heal things about yourself, then you start progressing. People think you level out at one level and that's it for the rest of your life. And people get so stuck in that. It's not true. we can progress, we level up as we allow growth into our consciousness.
Right. And the thing is to get out of your own way.
Yes,
You have to
absolutely.
totally get out of it. We are our own worst enemies. I'm my own worst enemy on a lot of things.
Same.
And I admit it. I admit it, and that's it, and and the thing is like with you hear other people talking, and I talk about fear, or when they're in ego or set in their ways, and they're supposed to be hearing like what we hear and stuff. Not that I'm saying we're all the same, but there's definitely a big division within our own community as far as intuitives or psychics and stuff, and what people are hearing. I mean, it's like a complete division
Yep.
of opposite information, and and I do see a lot of people like our tribe are on the same page
Yes.
of hearing exactly what spirit is sending to us, which is good. I just want to take a second and say hi to Carrie. Carrie said hey in the chat room, so hi, Carrie. But definitely it's one of those things that we um are noticing. I'm noticing. And so when I try to do my posts, I receive a lot of my stuff in puzzle form. And what I mean by puzzle form, in riddles and rhyme, right? Because it keeps my mind going, and I like doing puzzles and riddles and stuff like that. I love anything, to do with puzzles. So um that's how spirit has always, or they're jokesters, because I can be, excuse me, an asshat at times and be a jokester and laugh when I shouldn't be laughing, or making comments when I shouldn't, but what am I going to say, right? I mean, it is what it is,
It
and so
is.
that's how I receive the information.
Absolutely. Well, everybody channels the information differently, and it is our perception. And you was talking about the different, there's so many different, there is a division, and it's because people have let ego dictate dictate um what their channeled information is. So they can't step outside of that own structure that they have. So that's a whole different ballgame. But the channeled messages, we all channel so differently, but yet the same. And no matter how differently we do it, because it is our comfortability, because a lot of us don't want to let go of control, so they will give you the messages however you're comfortable with, and what
Yeah,
you allow with that comfortability. Because channeling is like you got your writing, you got the just typing out your messages, you're just channeling that information through. You've got full on channeling where beings will take over your body, and that is a big deal because that is a lot of energy that you take up on yourself.
exactly.
Channeling the information comes in many, many different ways, but also the energy.
Yep. Nope. I totally agree. I totally agree. I know. With me, when I don't meditate. I don't meditate like most people meditate. Number one, I don't always have the time. Number two, I set when messages can come through. Like if I'm working, please don't, unless it's an emergency. If I'm driving,
Absolutely.
please don't.
Yeah.
If I'm home and I'm not doing it, anything. So I have what they say, pick a deli ticket. When you go to the deli and you have to wait in line and you have to take a deli ticket, I
Yeah.
do that. I've done that for years because I used to get bombarded.
Yes. You have to have
And
boundaries, right?
that's it. I'm setting boundaries for myself and for them. Um, and and so when I mentor people, or even teenagers or kids, when the parents bring them to me and say, please help, I tell them, you're in charge. You're always in charge. Pick a ticket. Tell them that they have a deli ticket and they can go right to the back of the line, and when you're ready, you're ready. And so I still do that to this day, um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
especially if I'm in crowded places.
Oh Lord, yeah. I remember when I first started, like that activated in me, and I didn't realize at the time what was happening. Like I would walk into Walmart and I would have an anxiety, like a panic attack and anxiety because my
Walmart.
feet would heat up, my hands would heat up. I felt like everybody was staring at me, And I had never been through anything like that before. But at that same time, I was having a lot of things going on spiritually in my life that I didn't understand at the time. So it is. We are all empathic. That's what people don't realize is that some of us are way more empathic than others based upon our emotions, in which our traumas, which goes back to our traumas, our shadow work, our sensitivity levels by the stars. There's so many different aspects that make up who we are and why we are the way we are. And when you can break those things down about yourself, amazing people, like you can really understand yourself, and then understanding yourself, you can heal those aspects and work with those and understand them. So I mean,
Correct.
being empathic is an everybody thing until the more you're aware and the more that you work on yourself, the
Hmm.
more in tune you are with everything, so the harder it gets to handle.
Exactly. Yep. Nope. I totally get it. Um, and it is. And you talk about Walmart and stuff. I have a hard time going into Walmart. I only go in if it's an emergency. I'll order and have it delivered, but I can't go into Walmart because of that, because of the energies, because of everything that is going on in there and the different people. It's like me going into New York City.
Yes.
I can't do it.
Yeah, that's totally understandable. Like people don't realize how hard it is for some people. Some of us are like natural shielders, so we've learned to put the shield up, and then to
Hmm.
communicate we have to put the shield down to even use our energy too, because we become very adaptable about our energy and how we control it. And when you become even more mindful of it, it gets even better, because you can just like Care Bear stare out the energy around you. It's like, woo.
Exactly. Yep. Nope. I totally get it. It's the same way. Hey, Dallas is in the room. Thought you'd like that. Um, so yeah, I mean, exactly. I shield myself. I do very well, but it's still very taxing on me to
Yes.
be able to. Hey, buddy. He said hi. So it's one of those things where I just I it just it's very taxing. It takes a lot of energy out of me, even if I'm shielded, because it's energy is bouncing off the walls, and it's so much different energy that and every and I used to wonder why. Like I was pregnant for my son when the Walmart first opened here in our area, and I would go and I would get sick every time I went in there. I'd be like, what is going on? Like, why am I feeling this way? I shouldn't
Yeah.
be. I've never experienced this in a place before, and still to this day. And
Yeah.
weird things happen to me there. Weird things. And like spirit will make me like do some of the funkiest stuff like ever that I have no control over. Like one time I was in there and somebody was talking to me and I turned around. I didn't know who it was, and my jacket got caught, and all of a sudden it got caught on the cart, and I go to turn around, so the cart's spinning around, and it started spinning and I couldn't get unstuck, and I was like, oh my god. And like the woman's husband was like laughing as she's like going on and just talking away, and I didn't know who she was. Another time I came out of Walmart, and it was dark, and this little girl was in the back of a truck, and her grandmother was loading stuff in the truck, and she said, Angel, Angel, can you see me? And I'm still walking, and she goes, Angel, Angel, do you see me? And I
Wow.
stopped and I looked at her. She goes, you heard me, do you see me? And I said,
Wow.
you're talking to me? And she's like, yes, don't you recognize me, Angel? And I was like,
Wow.
sure. She goes, and her grandmother goes, well, she's got quite the imagination, so please excuse her. And I said, I want to hear this imagination. So she's talking to me and telling me what they were having for dinner. She had to be like 6 or 7 years old. And
Yeah.
then she said, Grandma, Angel, when I'm sleeping, Angel comes and sees me at night and takes me flying.
How funny. You just gave me the chills. See, I've had them
And I was like,
experiences too, similar experiences, the same thing. It's like,
yeah,
I mean, and that is all of us. Anybody who is relating to this, you know exactly what we're talking about because it's wild experiences that we are never taught about. Like, and we have to
exactly.
understand on our own because people like us, we've come into spirituality from personal experiences. So we had to
Hmm.
understand who we were from here out. And there's a lot of
Right,
people who learn about all this and then address, then they'll integrate it. Some of them don't integrate it. By the way, that's the people that are stuck. Like that's the
yeah,
people who are not getting the full messages because they're not
right,
integrating that information. You might know a lot, but you don't know anything.
right. And one of the things I want to talk about, because Holly, I mean, I see this every day and it's getting worse and worse. It's almost like, well, it's become foo foo, right? Spirituality, as far as by the masses. So, spirituality is not a group or anything. Spirituality is the embracing of self, it's the journey of self,
Yes,
yourself,
yes,
not anybody else, not a group of people. It's about yourself. It's
yes,
the journey of self and being your true authentic self and everything.
yes.
It doesn't mean that you're going to be foo foo and all giddy, giddy, giddy. And no, no, because
No.
and it's like with love and light. Love and light has become um, a joke when people say it because everybody says it, but then you turn around and they don't practice it. But
No,
they're
and that's
saying,
like
well,
amen or I'll pray for you. You know, it's just the automatic reaction in their mind to say, "Oh, I'm sorry." It's their way of trying to be empathetic. And the thing about it is like we realize that I had this problem too, and I had to sit with spirit on it because I was like, this kind of like makes me feel a
that's
certain way, right? Like I'm like, how's this work? But then spirit's like, you know what? Everybody plants seeds in one way, shape, or form. And then there's people
right.
who mirror. There's people who mirror information. So I, I like to think of it as that these people out here are mirroring information. At least some of these people are opening up in some way, shape, or form. Some people grab onto it like it's a fad, but that's been forever. That's been forever that people have just jumped on the bandwagon because they see other people doing it. It's just how the human mind works. And especially if they see people who are living a spiritual life who tends to be more positive, and the people who are because the spiritual path is not rainbows and skittles, people.
No,
Okay,
it's
it's
not at
not,
all. Not at
absolutely
all.
not. But we don't have to give in to the negative aspects of it. So a lot of us choose to be more positive and be see the positive of everything.
And that's like another thing. Everybody's knocking the phrase "fake it till you make it," and they're saying that's awful and blah blah blah. And not what I this is what I say. It takes 21 days to change a habit.
Yes,
At minimum of 21 days.
yes,
So if you're negative and you have to be positive, I mean, we have our negative moments. We all have them.
yes,
But be positive, to be more positive, you have to fake it basically until you make it. At
yeah,
least 20 days until that kicks in. It's the same thing with quitting smoking or going on a diet and changing your
yes,
eating habits.
yes.
21 days of doing it, whether
Well,
you like it or
exactly. And our mind is constantly telling us we're trying to sabotage ourselves all the time. And this is why I've always said fake it until you make it, because that's how I figured out how to lose weight. That's how I figured out how to become more confident in myself. And it wasn't that I'm
exactly,
faking it in the aspect of ego. It was I was giving myself affirmations. So that's a
exactly.
verbiage thing, but it's giving yourself affirmations and you're being more mindful every day. If you get yourself in a routine, even if it's telling yourself, I am beautiful in the mirror, I'm loved, I'm smart, you are changing your perception by changing your and that is changing your perception, absolutely. So there's nothing wrong with
Exactly.
that at all. It's
But
actually
so
very, very useful tool.
right. So don't and positivity shaming, there's no such thing. I'm sorry. That's
No,
something that's new, that's just recently made up, that people are feeling inferior, or that people that are positive are pushing positivity on others who obviously don't want to be.
Right.
There's no such thing as positivity shaming. Nobody is shaming anybody with
No.
positivity. So that's something else that's new that I want people to know that that's bullshit.
Yeah, it
Sorry,
is. It is bullshit. It is the
because
biggest crock of bullshit ever because you can choose to be happy or you could choose to be mad. Which one are you
right,
going to choose? Because it is a
right,
choice. It is something you
right,
wake up every day to choose. And you can choose how you deal with things. You either give into it or you overcome it and you face it and you like get past it. Either if
correct.
you don't do that, honey, it comes back in cycles. That's why
It
people
does.
are walking around with the same loops and wondering how they're going to change their life. It is by being real with yourself.
Yes, and with yourself, and of course other people too. But it's about taking responsibility for your own choices, your own actions. It's not playing the victim.
Yes, absolutely. It is
Not
taking
playing the victim.
responsibility for your trauma and stop projecting it onto other people because that's what's
Right.
happening. We've got one big trauma bubble, and people talk about trauma a lot. And I know a lot of people in the spiritual community are sick and tired of hearing it. But if you're sick and tired of hearing it, it's because there's something that is irritating your inners. That is a sure sign. Because I can
Yeah.
tell you right now, as someone who sits with people and helps people to show, like, guide them on their spiritual path, if you sit with me and you get defensive, it is the first sign to me that I have hit something within you that you need to heal. And
That you
most
need to
people
heal
who sit
yourself.
with me
Exactly.
know, I will tell them. I'm like Medea up in here, honey, but they know I do it with love. And there's no
Yeah.
judgment. It's all love. Because if you're coming to a spiritual person for counseling or for help, then you better sit down and listen. Because a true spiritual person is going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, honey.
Exactly. Exactly. Nope, I totally get it. It's very true. And the interesting thing is, get this, I'm starting to take on um younger youth in counseling sessions.
Yes. Yes, I'm
You
seeing
know,
that too.
which is, I'm loving it.
Yes.
Actually,
Because
I'm
that
loving it.
means that we are seeing a trajectory of healing in the younger generations. They're realizing, hey, this is something that I can heal. And because people before us who have walked that spiritual path kept on going, because you can see over the decades the spiritual movements, they'll come in and then the negativity, the like, it really, something happens where we're suppressed and then we get back up. It's like the collective when we're bobbing up in the higher and down in the lower. So if you're in the
Right.
lower vibrational world, you're experiencing negativity around you. If you're in the higher vibrational world, you're happy, you're on cloud nine. That is the mood swing thing. But what people don't realize is, like, you can change that with just the thought process. And like you were saying, is putting affirmations out there saying, I am going to make myself happy, because in that I can at least use that time to work on myself to understand why I'm not truly happy.
Right. Yep, it's true. And these kids are trying to find themselves, and it's so hard because if they just go to anybody else, right, they're, it's just like textbook stuff that's not letting them be themselves. Shout out to my sister who's in the chat room watching. And Dallas was just saying that you see that a lot in the shop. Old Appalachian grannies bringing in their granddaughters for readings
Yes,
and
yes,
sessions.
we see a
Nice.
lot of that. It's wonderful.
Yep, or sons or grandsons. It's really promising to see this open mindedness. It is.
Yes, absolutely. It is so much bigger than people realize. I know in our collective group, we are on board. We know what's happening. We're having to step into our true calling. Why we signed up for this, because we signed up for it way before we come into this vessel. So now we're remembering who we are, why we're here. That's a huge message from Spirit, is to remember who you are. Step
Yes.
into your power. Stop holding yourself back. I know how hard it is to step outside of yourself. I know how hard it is to make decisions in your life that you need to make to change your life. But on the other side of that is this amazing life that you could be living, and you're not alone. You're never truly alone.
Yep. Nope. It's been for me. It's been really good, and people are like, "Well, you're by yourself a lot." I am by myself a lot because not only am I healing, but I'm also enjoying my own company and on that spiritual journey and everything else.
Solitude is important. If you can't sit with yourself alone without, having these emotions come up, solitude, everybody goes through vision quests in their life on this path, and I'm with you on that. I've been doing that down here in Tennessee, and I've been addressing very deep wounds that I needed to heal, and it's been amazing.
Yeah,
Both me and you, we've been on this path for a long time. And that's why I said at the beginning, if you think that you've completely healed, no, honey, keep on thinking that, because I mean, you're going through this progression and we are lifting up. It's like you've got to bring that vibrational level from here all the way up, and that's in levels, and that takes work, and that's given over to the path. That's given over to your spirituality. That is saying,
exactly.
you know what, I'm going to make time for my spirituality because it's important. That's that important. I always tell people I pray more than Muslims do.
You do, but again, the journey of self. It's not anybody else's journey.
No,
Spiritualism is the journey of self. It's connecting to your true authentic self, healing yourself, healing, past generations that
yes,
are on the other side, healing, all that stuff, all that trauma, all of it. And
yes.
it's a very freeing feeling.
Yes, it is. Because nothing holds you back anymore. Nobody's opinions of you hold you back anymore. The poison that you held on to with the deep wounds that you refused to heal because you didn't want to address it because it hurt so bad. When you heal those things, you see things so much differently. You're no longer bitter about
Right.
things. You don't have hate in your heart for people, but you have healing in your heart for people, because
Correct.
it ain't that everybody's out here intentionally trying to hurt someone. They're projecting their trauma onto other people, and that's exactly what it is. Being people like us, you talked about being alone. That's another one of those deep healing thoughts I had in here down here, because I've always truly in my mind, like on my heart of hearts that I didn't want to admit to myself, I've always been alone, and I want to like expand on that. And what I mean is, because when you have such a deep understanding of the world and nobody around you does, you are alone. And nobody
Hmm.
can stimulate your mind when you're alone. And so you get in here a lot. As kids, we were self-soothers, we were self-healers. We had these grand plans in our mind. We are dreamers. We knew we had
Still,
purpose.
still to this day.
Yes, absolutely. Nobody's going to take that away from me. I'm always going to be pushing through, because when you give over and you give in and you actually follow your dreams, you get out of your way and you allow the universe to give you what is intended for you. Receiving is a big thing. A lot of us are not used to receiving because we're used to giving,
Yep.
and
It's
we,
hard to
we most of
receive.
us overgive. We just give everything and we have nothing in return. And so that's where boundaries come in. It's very important for boundaries, no matter who it is in your life, family, your children, whatever it is. You have to have boundaries to protect your peace.
Right. Yep. Nope. I totally get it. Carrie was just saying it's very frustrating trying to explain it to family, or not
Well,
to family, to anybody, just just to people, explaining stuff to people.
yeah. Well, you know what the thing about it is it's called spiritual blindness, sweetie. Some people are going to hear you, and them are the people that you're going to have closer to you. The other people that can't see or hear you, then they can just keep walking. I mean, you can't make anyone understand. You can't make anyone see. It's planting seeds, just like this. We talked about this show tonight, and we talked, when we was on the phone. I was like, we're planting seeds. That's all that matters. You can't make anyone see your point of view. You can just keep being you and choose to have boundaries to protect your energy, so you don't feel like people are making you feel crazy, or because that is a self-inflicted wound that we put on ourselves because we care so
Right.
much what other people think about us.
I don't anymore.
Me neither.
I just don't anymore. I'm
Yeah,
too young to worry about that. You know what I'm saying?
exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
I
Yes.
get younger every day.
Yes, same.
My body might not feel it, but I get younger every day.
Same, but that's
You know?
okay.
But
It's mind over
Michelle,
matter, right?
Yep. Shout out to Michelle and Vicky who have joined us. So I'm excited you guys are here. Excited everybody's here tonight.
I love
I haven't
it.
done a show in a while.
I have not done a live in a minute.
Yeah, no, I haven't done it in a while because of, work and just everything going on, and and I just haven't done it. So I'm getting back in. As a matter of fact, guess who I have coming on next Friday night? I mean, it's
Who?
going to be Friday night next week, everybody. Hi, Lisa. Next Friday night. Do you remember the Carol Burnett show?
Yes.
Do you remember Harvey Korman?
Yes.
I have Harvey's son Christopher coming on for next
Oh,
Friday night.
nice. Very nice.
Yeah,
I love
that'll
that.
be that'll be fun.
Yes, it'll
It'll
be
be
fun. And the thing about these lives, Renee, is I've been doing podcasting and lives for years. And people would always, if they followed me and knew me, they knew I would come in a good solid months and then I would have to disappear for a little bit. And it's because we have to start protecting our energy and we have to pull back sometimes. You can't always be there and you can't always continually keep showing up when you have other things that you need to tend to. You can't
right.
leave your garden. You got to tend to your
Yep.
garden.
No, I agree. I did it on radio for years.
Yes.
That's when I started. It was in 2011, and I started on radio. Um, and my first show, I was scared out of my socks. I was like terrified. But then it got like really fun and crazy. So I did it for years,
Yes. Same.
almost years on radio, and it was great. And then I took a little break, and then I started with doing the videos, which was okay.
Yeah.
But then I had to learn not to look at myself in the video because you're worried about this or you're worried about that. I'm like, that's ego. Get out of yourself. Step out of
It's
it.
not ego. It's just like when you look at yourself, you're picking yourself apart. Let's get real with it. You're looking at all the
Yeah.
things that could possibly be wrong with you, and that's a perception thing. It's like you have to really get over yourself because I had that same thing when I started like my aerobics class and they had mirrors in front of me, and I was like, oh God.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to
no
watch myself
way.
work out, man. That is a whole different level of having to get over yourself.
I would probably, I'm really bad with classes like that because with mirrors and stuff because I start laughing.
I got you. It's your
Talk
defense
about
for yourself.
inappropriate moment. I start laughing. I'm
Yeah.
laughing at myself. And then I get everybody else laughing, and nobody accomplishes anything because because I can't focus, and I can't be adult enough to not do that.
What you need to do is look in that mirror and say, hello, beautiful. I love you.
I
Because
just start.
my hind got naked in front of the mirror and I looked at every inch of my body and I said, you know what? I'm going to accept my body for everything that it is in this moment. And let me tell you how powerful that is. When you
Yeah,
accept that, it's something clicks within you and then things start happening. Like you start being led to these things and you find yourself just feeling pretty, being beautiful. You realize that beauty's in here and it just because when we feel ourselves, when we feel beautiful in here, it pours out and it shines and people see that and it's part of your glow, it's part of your shine.
it is. And I actually started my own journey with weight loss too, by the way. Um, so I haven't lost as much as you have, but I've done 27 pounds.
Yeah. Let me tell you what, it's been a journey and there ain't nothing wrong. Slow and steady wins the race every time. I can tell you that because it's about health. That's the misconception. For me, everybody will say, well, you're beautiful the way that you are. I didn't say I was ugly. I didn't say I was ugly. I didn't say I was trying to lose weight to look beautiful. I'm trying to be healthy
Yeah,
because on the
healthy.
spiritual path, I promise you, spirit will lead you to these different paths that introduce you to healthier lifestyles, healthier eating. So you got the knowledge here, but it's hard to apply it because our mind is in the way. So when you understand what your relationship is with food, it changes a lot. So if I had to tell anybody the secret and the peel and whatever you want to call it, it is you. It is working
Right.
on you. It is getting past them barriers that you have put in place for whatever you are I don't want to say hiding from, but you are suppressing. And
Yeah.
the same with myself. I had to work past what my relationship with food is, and because our body is a vessel, it's sacred. And so when you're on the journey and you're trying to do this complete, just you want to feel complete, you want to just be, you have to address the mental, and you have to do the physical, and you have to do the soul, you have to do the spirit.
Right.
It's that
Yep.
combination of three.
Yep. It is. It is. And when I told my doctor, she was like so ecstatic with what I had lost already, and she was just ecstatic that I wanted to continue the journey.
Yes,
And yeah, and she's like, "What are you doing already?" And I told her, and she's like, "Keep it up. Just keep
yes,
it up." And she said,
yes,
"Slow and steady." And she
yes,
likes that. Yeah.
yes. I always tell people, because we get frustrated when we don't see results right away. So we fall
Mhm.
off the wagon real quick. We are so hard on ourselves about that. I did it. I've done this a million times. Y'all listen to me. Listen, Linda. We get in our own way so bad. We expect instant results, and then we sit and look at ourselves and tear ourselves apart. But that ain't doing you no good, because, honey, the universe is listening and your body's listening when you're talking negative to yourself. It don't
Yep.
matter if you're talking in here or outwards. The universe is listening and your mind's listening. So change the verbiage. Start telling
Yep.
yourself beautiful things about yourself instead of knocking yourself down. Because all of our lives we've encountered, especially if you struggle with weight and have struggled with your weight your whole life,
Mhm.
we have always encountered this. We have a defense mechanism, and Renee, yours is like mine. I make fun of myself before anybody could ever beat me to the punch.
I
So everything
know.
was funny. My humor was my defense mechanism, and it still
Yeah.
is. And I catch myself in the moments being more mindful. And I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I'm PHAT, baby. Okay, PHAT.
We did. It's funny because my sense of humor has always been on the off side because I spent 9 years as a critical care EMT here in New York State. I've
Wow.
seen things that most people wouldn't be able to handle.
Yeah.
And if you know the first responders, any of them, like, have any friends, you'll notice that a lot of them have that warped sense of humor,
Absolutely.
um, because of things that we've experienced and seen in
Yeah.
emergency situations
It's a coping
and things that
mechanism.
it
Like, I have nurse
is.
friends. I have all kinds of EMT friends. I have that warped sense of humor, and I don't think it's so much warped. People might see it as morbid. It's just we have an understanding, because when you see this stuff so much, you have to process it in your mind, and you can either lose your shit, or you can be like, okay, I understand this for what it is, especially from a spiritual aspect.
Yes. Yep. That's another thing about it. Spirituality is keeping it real. So important to keep it real. I just want to do a shout out. Hi, Patty. I love you. And Michelle was saying up here, it's amazing to me how many of us are, oh, I don't know if I can scroll back, how many of us are having the same similar experience and yet we still feel isolated. That's very true.
Yeah. Well, we're feeling isolated for a reason, because in that isolation there's loneliness, and there's things
Yep.
that you need to look at. And that's what I was saying earlier is, it's like, where is my people, where is my tribe? Your tribe's out there. It's just got to change your vibrational pattern to match theirs, and then
Hmm.
it will make more sense to you. The isolation right now is on a collective, and
Correct.
we are in solitude because we are pushing some deep stuff out that needs to go, because we're transitioning right now, guys. We are
Right.
transitioning into this new vibrational earth, and that's why you're seeing
5D.
everything
Yep.
be the way that it is in the world.
Yep. The 5D.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yes.
We're getting there. If some people are there and some people aren't, but
Yeah,
it's
some of us are
getting
there,
there.
some of us are working, and then some of us are drowning. And you can obviously see it, especially from, like, if you work in the planes of existence, if you're working with shamanic work, if you're doing readings, if you're doing healings, you have to be able to dive down in them planes of existence, because that's how you reach people. But you got to know not to stay there. And that's another thing too, is like, it's okay to visit things, because when you're doing shadow work, guys, you're dipping down into a lower vibrational area because that is negative. That is negative emotions. You can
Correct.
dive down in there and you can address these things without staying there. And I think that's where people get really caught up in their mental states is they get stuck there. So they become victims of their own circumstances. It's all like, why me? Why me? And it's this loop. And they go through this loop and it's the same thing every time, and then you're standing outside of it and you're going, well, this is why, and you either apply this to your life and you change leave the cycle behind, or you continue the cycle. It's easy as that. People don't want to hear that because it means you have to work on yourself. It means you have to put in some work and healing.
Yep. And it's hard work. Holly said she can relate to that. Or Holly said, you did say that. Michelle said that. I don't have my glasses on.
It's okay.
100% authenticity. It's true. It's true. It doesn't mean everything is, like you said, through rosy glasses for us. We have our own, battles that we do and we're striving for, but we keep it real. Totally keeping it real.
Absolutely.
And that's.
Well, you have to be authentic on this path, because if you're not authentic, it ain't about how other people, if you're authentic with other people, are you authentic with yourself? How many masks do you wear? Because innately, when we go through things in our life, we put an armor up, we put mask up, and that's how we protect ourselves. And then a lot of people forget that they even have the mask and they just become the mask. So they have layers of mask that they become, and you have to unbecome the mask. And that's hard. That's the layers. That's taking away all these layers of bullshit that we've encountered and just adapted to our whole lives.
No, it's totally true. Carrie was saying her tribe is all over the country. My tribe is all over the world, believe it or not.
Yes.
And I love that feeling. As a matter of fact, part of my tribe is in the United States right now from the UK.
Yes.
And we've been communicating and videoing and everything for the last 14 years or so. And I actually get to meet them face to face on Saturday. Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. They are filming. They're a paranormal team from the UK, and they're on TV over there and stuff.
Yeah,
and they are fairly well known. And so they are the first UK team to be investigating / even filming at the Conjuring House, which is, I believe, tonight. And then the Hinsdale House this weekend.
Man. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Awesome.
So in transit after Salem, which is tomorrow, they'll leave Salem Saturday morning. And they're stopping off in Albany, and I'm meeting them in Binghamton on Saturday. And we're going to eat and hugs, and yeah, I'm really excited. Y'all are.
It is exciting because I'm like you. I have people all over, and they keep on coming in, y'all. I'm just telling you, the more you keep going, the more you keep on the path, and the more people start coming in. And especially when you're reaching that vibrational level too, it's like, wow, the stars are aligning right now. I mean, we can't deny that at all. But it's amazing because in your tribe, there's no such thing as any type of jealousy or ego. It's all uplifting and empowering. And that's what we're seeing a lot in a lot of communities is that empowerment, because it's all about unity. It's not about division. And that's a big, big no-no in the world right now is the lack of unity. Because everybody's got their own agendas and traumas that they're clinging on to and projecting out to the world and trying to get they're trying to get justice is what it is. Exactly. Everybody's trying to get justice, but you are not the one to give justice. You are the one to sit with yourself and heal your wounds. Because there's an
not
issue.
Anybody else, and that's the whole thing. You can't. I mean, you're going to worry about your children and stuff like that, but what people are actually doing is none of your business because you need to worry about you and what's happening with you and heal that.
Yes.
And I keep saying mind your own business because that seems to be a problem with society today. Is that everybody else is trying to project off their traumas or their garbage or make others look bad or get the drama going or continue it when it would just go away if everybody just stayed to themselves and focused on themselves instead of
Well,
what other people are
right. And
doing.
another thing too is back to focusing on the positive aspects. Put out what you want to see in the world. You got to be the
Exactly.
change that the world needs, right? And if you are tired, sick and tired of the way that the world is, start looking at yourself and how you can project that love and compassion out, because it does affect the collective. And us, and when
Exactly.
we say collective, guys, I want you to understand this: is we are all vibrationally connected by and different groups depending on where we're at vibrationally, obviously. But when we are together and we are getting these messages and these channelings, we are sharing energy fields. And that means that if we can unite together and we can project out that love and compassion, could you imagine if everybody in on Earth and in the cosmos just band together and just really chose to have that love and compassion and positivity and healing, because that's what's happening right now, but not everybody's going to see it.
Yep. It's true. It's true. Hey, Joe, I miss you too, buddy. Hope all is well. One of my buddies from one of my paranormal teams down in Binghamton. So neat. So what else is Michelle saying here? Deep diving is is akin to being a lifeguard. Got to be able to survive those levels before we help save someone else, and they may take us down with them. It's true.
Absolutely.
Very true.
That's the people out here walking around thinking they're healing people, but what they're doing is they're getting caught up in somebody else's storm. You have to
Right.
have a lot of inner strength and knowing and the ability to control energy when you are choosing to go down in somebody else's shit,
Right.
because we're continuously being trying to be pulled into chaos. I mean, that's the truth of it. There's a unbalance of everything right now. It's not been in balance for a while. And so in order for us to balance that out, we have to, this is something that has to happen, and it's like that nobody has a choice. It's happening. Uh-oh. I lost Renee. But no, it's
No,
just like
keep talking. Keep talking. I'll be right back.
you're fine, you're fine. But yeah, it's just like everything is changing, and we don't have a choice in that. We can fight it or we can flow with it. And when you flow with it, trust me, life is a lot better when you flow with it. Not saying it's an easy path. It's not. It is a hard path, because you have to discover things about yourself. You have to really be able to voice yourself. You have to step into your confidence, and you have to understand that um, you are God. You are a higher being. You are a conduit and open for this change. And what I mean by you are God, don't take that the wrong way and get the God complex, but we are all connected. We are part of spirit, the universe, whatever you choose to call the higher beings, whatever. It's the same thing. We just choose different paths and verbiage for whatever we're connecting with. Um, but yeah, so if it's what you're choosing to participate in. Now I don't know what to say. I feel one-ended over here, Renee. But no, so everything that's happening in the universe right now, I don't know about you guys, but today I woke up very tired. Like I couldn't get myself motivated for anything. And it wasn't a mental tired, it was a physical tired. So the thing with what's going on in the universe right now is that we're all feeling that on a collective. You're either like really like you're buzzing with energy right now, or you are just plain tired. It's like you're
Yeah.
physically you are exhausted. And there's a reason behind that. Like spirit started to get me to like post up on Facebook to pose questions to people so I could show other people that it's not just them feeling a certain way. People don't realize their emotions most of the time are not their own. And that's another big situation that people need to understand, because when you're empathic, you feel other people's emotions, and so you have to decipher what's yours and what's other people's. And then the collective as a whole. It's like when we're feeling that as a whole, we're having the same symptoms. We're going through the same thing, but nobody's talking about it because we all just think it's just something with us, and we want to blame it on something physical or another. We have to have something to associate it with, right?
Nope, I
So
totally get it. Nope, you're right. You're right. And that's the whole thing is I tell a lot of empaths, when they say I'm depressed, feeling depressed suddenly, why are you feeling depressed?
yes,
I don't know. Do you have anything to feel depressed about? No. Then it's a reflection of somebody else. Somebody else
yes,
is deflecting that. You're soaking it in. Acknowledge it, don't own it, and send it back to the universe
yes, yes,
to transmute
absolutely,
it. And that's what you need to do. And then they feel better. You know,
yes, yes,
hi, Vicky. Good to see you. And yes, about being tired. Yeah, I wake up some days and I'm absolutely exhausted, and other days I'm fine. And I find sometimes like you can't even sleep, right? You're having a hard time sleeping. And other days when you sleep and you get a full 8 hours, you feel more tired sometimes,
yes,
right?
yes. And also,
And
if you're
so
a traveler like us, I mean, we're working heavy on the other side. So if you wake up
big
and you're tired,
time,
more than likely you have been traveling a lot and
big
doing things on the other side. I don't know about you, Renee. How's your dreams been? Like, have you been doing a lot of like vivid traveling?
yes, a lot of it. I've also um I've also like seen myself in other places, like in some of these dreams, like other, and it's kind of been like a question of mine that I've had, and it's almost like it's being answered, like seeing myself living the same life but differently
Yes. Like it's
elsewhere.
here
And
but
I'm
not
just like,
here. It's not here, and
yeah,
there's other people that you've never seen. You're not
yes,
the only one. There's a bunch of us. I mean, I've had people who have not been on the spiritual path for a very long time, and then they're sitting down and telling me that they feel like they are going to other places, like other planes of existence.
yes,
Parallel universes is the big
yes,
common verbiage they're used, and
yes.
that's exactly I've experienced it too. I mean, I've had some
I want that
amazing
life here.
experiences.
I want that life here in this life, this one. I want
Yeah.
to experience that because I kind of like that other one. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
I know. It's like, man, do I have to wake up?
I'm like, I mean, you look at it and it's like you have different people, but there's still a lot of the same people, and
Yeah.
are going to remain. And it's like, what is this? You hear that your soul is basically in several different places, experiencing several different things at the same time. And
Yes.
I'm like, and so it's like, what am I doing? Eavesdropping, popping in, spying on my other self. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And
Yes,
it's
that's
like,
what
I
I was
want
going
that
to tell
life.
you. But when I started
Yeah.
experiencing that, I was like, I analyze everything. I try to understand it and like really try to dissect it so I can understand it. And that's the same thing that I come up with too. I was like, so whenever when our physical body is sleeping, our soul body is popping in on these other lives, because I have experienced multitudes of different types of lives.
Correct.
And like sometimes the world that I'm in is not exactly like this one. It's like some of them have a darker undertone.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, it's something. It's beautiful. I love it. Like for us, it's like being the explorers that we are, the mind sellers that we are. It's amazing to be able to go in there and you got your paranormal investigators. We are more like conscious investigators. So we're going in and we're like coming back out, and instead of being afraid of it because we've worked past that fear, we are trying to understand how this works so we can teach other people how to access this and how to understand this, because
Right.
this is breaking, like this is really breaking through a lot of stigmas, a lot of misinformation. Even though it's still considered pseudoscience. I don't really care about anybody's science or outside worldly affairs, but I can tell you exactly where we come from and like how we work, and this is how we see the world, and this is how spirit tells us how it works. So,
Right.
I don't doubt that, because we're at a point in our life on our spiritual path, both of us, and many of you out there, where you are confident in who you are. So your voice don't shake when you speak anymore, because you believe and you know.
Exactly. It's one of the things I was telling the young lady I was working with today. Um, After on the spiritual end of counseling and stuff, and I said to her, I said, I just want you to know something. If you want to research, research.
Yes.
But when you read some of these things, you have to understand that that's their experience, not yours. And you're not going to experience what other people experience, and you're not going to receive the way other people receive. You
Exactly.
are, that is their experience, and it's not necessarily going to be for you.
No.
So, and I tell people what you got to do is just go into yourself and try, use discernment and trust your judgment and
Yes.
listen.
Yes, listen, that's the biggest thing, guys. Let me tell you something, Renee. When I first started meditating, I was like, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, this was years ago, right? I was like, oh man. And then I hear this voice, and it
Uh
said,
huh.
listen. I was like, oh, okay. Like, at first I was like, well, where's this male voice coming from? And then I was like, oh, I understand. Like, it's not like listen, it's listen. You got to trust yourself. You have to listen and
Hmm.
trust yourself. That's the two important things, because we seek knowledge out here, but hey, there's a plethora of knowledge in here that we can access. And
Exactly.
it is, where do you think all this stuff's come from? Yeah, where do you think these big philosophers got their information? They channel this stuff. It's all information that's out here and accessible for everybody. This is why we end up channeling the same messages and don't even know each other. Why
Yep.
we have synchronicities in the world. The synchronicities are out there to help us pay attention and be more mindful and break free from that perception of reality that we have, that negativity. We are so stuck. That world, I say that world because I choose not to participate anymore. I'm vibing high over here in the new world. You know what I'm saying? I'm like guiding the light over here. Come on, y'all. The water's fine. The water's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's moving. And if you want to see movement, then you got to step up out of that stagnant.
And this is what people don't understand when we talk about a new world. The world is changing. The way we live is changing, and you have to remain positive, and you have to picture it the way that you want it to be.
Yes. Yes.
Because the universe does not know our happy and our sad. It just knows what we focus our mind on, our thoughts, our words.
Our energy. Our energy tells us everything. You can walk in a room with one other person, and you can feel the energy if that person is going to be negative or positive, right?
Hmm.
So just imagine that on the big collective scale of a massive amount of people, and that in itself speaks volumes. I mean, if you look at the way things are right now, I've had friends who aren't as spiritual, and they're complaining about what's going on in the world, and I said, well, first of all, don't complain to me about it, because I don't even care. But second of all, why do you care? Because you can't control
Right.
it. The only thing that it's doing right now is instilling fear into you, and that is the big thing people need to recognize. Because out of fear, people think that they're trying to stay, you know, up to
Correct.
date with what's going on in the world. But the truth is they are. It's fear. It is all fear. And it's not meaning that you're not aware, can't be aware of what's going on in the world. It just means that you are choosing to
Not
put
to focus
out
on it.
positivity back in the world by not feeding into that fear.
Yeah, because we don't want to manifest our fears. That's the
Exactly.
most important thing. If we manifest our fears, we're in trouble.
Yes.
It's not the end of the world. It's a new world. It's going to change. But the
Yes.
thing is that the way it's going through is not a positive way because of people's manifestations of their fear and the division. And what they're not understanding is this is not a political battle. It's a spiritual battle between
Yes.
evil and good. And and that's where we need to focus on. This is why we all need to be together,
Yes.
and
Unified.
stop going based on ego or what it is that we're stuck on our own thoughts and our own patterns. Instead, this is where we're not hearing each other.
Yes.
We're speaking to hear ourselves speak and to basically outdo the other person.
Yes.
And
We're trying to seek justice, and injustice, people think that they're got to be, you're wrong, or you're wrong. What I see in the world is little kids pointing at each other and saying, "No, you're wrong. You're wrong." It's just ugliness. It's pure
it's
ugliness.
very
And
immature.
yes, very immature, spiritually definitely immature. And I always know when somebody ain't my people, because if you go and bring that stuff around me, honey, we ain't got nothing to talk about, because I'm over here picking the daisies and I'm manifesting shit in my life, and I'm trying to get right with the Lord, having a meeting with the Lord. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, no, we don't bring out negativity here, baby, because it ain't that we're being ignorant to it. We are choosing to bring positivity in, and we're alchemists. We are taking that energy and we are converting that negative energy into positive energy.
Exactly. Yep. And that's it. And that's the whole thing. You need that 21 days, like we said, to be able to make it
Yes.
and
Yes.
get there. And when you do, when you make it a lifelong pattern or way of living, you see miracles every day. You see
Yes.
miracles. How can you not?
Yes. I mean, it's just
Living
like,
out of
okay, so
gratitude.
it's like when you start getting, okay, say you're trying to get healthy and you've been like in the gutter, right? You're feeling junky, right? And you start walking and you make yourself walk at least 10 minutes a day. Let's say 10 minutes a day. You're just taking a brisk walk every day and you start feeling better. Do you not?
Yeah,
You
definitely.
start feeling better. Your mind starts feeling better. That's the disconnection that we're having there, is that
Right.
they're acting here, but they're not. It's that whole, you got to think of if you're thinking of unity, not just consciously, but that mind, body, spirit thing. I mean, it's just everything. It's like, I
Correct.
wish I could just have a megaphone and just scream it out to the world. I always say it, I'm just going to touch everybody in the world and make them see right there in the third eye. You've been blessed, honey. You go, that's what's happening.
Yep. Nope. I get it. I get it. Michelle was just saying, we also can't be afraid of our bad thoughts or having fears, because that is fear based too. Just be human and love that, period. Acceptance is key. And you're right. Acceptance is, and when I catch myself being negative, Michelle, or anybody who's listening in, what I tend to do is I catch it. I acknowledge it, because you have to acknowledge what you're doing, whether it's good or bad. You acknowledge it, and then I look up and I say, please take that and transmutate it into positivity for me, please, to the
Absolutely.
universe.
Yeah,
And
because
then
out of
before I
those
know it, then
reactions,
I'm focused on it and saying, okay, now I can turn it around because
yes,
I've acknowledged it. And I have
you're,
no choice. There's no excuse. There is
yes,
no excuse.
no, they're not. And in that acknowledgement, you're understanding yourself. Not saying
Correct.
just, oh, I'm choosing to look away. See, people's not getting it on that level. We're not saying we choosing to walk away. We're
Right.
choosing to not let that rule us. Because what does that negativity do? To feel it and release it's one thing, and transmute it, right? But to feel it and not let go of it, you're pouring out on everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You're pouring out on
Mm-hmm.
everybody else with this inner anger that you're holding on to yourself. You're just holding this inner anger in there.
It's like walking into or being in a room full of people and having that one person walk in who carries that negative energy and it drains the whole room.
Yes,
That's,
absolutely.
that's very true.
Yep.
So, a couple of things I'm just going to say that we focused on tonight or that we learned. No such thing as positivity shaming. That's their own insecurity. So
Yes.
that's not a thing.
No.
And other thing. Oh my God, I just went blank. I, I just went blank.
We focused on a lot of stuff and transmuting the negative into the positive. We focused on like
Yeah.
the new earth vibes, the boundaries that you have to put in place. I feel like an hour was like 10 minutes, okay?
I know, right? I get it. I get it. Yeah, it's been a little over an hour.
Yeah.
Fear is a training to become powerful transmuters. Yeah, I've gotten to the point where I just don't focus on the fear part anymore. I just can't.
Me neither. I
Because
removed that from my life.
It's a trauma response.
It is a trauma response. It is when people start being more mindful of it. See, what I've seen it so many times is people will stand behind their defense mechanism. And usually their defense mechanism is that you need to know what's going on with the world.
Right.
I'm like, but no, you don't.
And and people say fear is not an emotion. Fear most certainly is an emotion. Fear is a very solid emotion, um and the thing is that acknowledging it and bringing it to the forefront and being able to be aware of this, to control that as you would control any of your other emotions, put it in check, not necessarily control, but keep it in check so that it's balanced, it's an equal balance. Then you find that you can see clearer and you understand a lot clearer if you can keep all of your emotions in check. It's the same thing with, again, like I said, when you see a person acting out or they're carrying on and they do something against you, what is your reaction? You have control over your reaction.
Yes,
How are you going to
absolutely.
react? Same thing with fear or with any of your other emotions. You have the power to acknowledge and you need to keep it in check. If
Yes,
you don't keep it in check, then you're getting false information. You're getting, um, you're you're pulling in the negative. You're at a lower vibrational energy.
yeah.
Here's another thing too that I want to talk about is your vibrational energy. And you see a lot of things where people say, raise your vibrational energy, stay higher. Those that are lower will back away and you'll pull in higher energy, pulling in your tribe. And I've seen people say, well, what about, the people who are lower vibrational energy? They need higher, they need you too. You're just like shutting them out. No, there's a difference. There is a difference. You choose to be lower vibrational energy. You're either stuck in victim mode
Yes,
or you are, stuck in a loop that you need to get out of.
yes, absolutely.
And,
I know
and,
exactly what you're talking about with that. And every time I read it, it
and it's
rubs me
okay.
wrong.
Yeah. And it's okay to be, what are the words I'm looking for? Because I'm not trying to diss anybody.
No,
I'm just trying to bring clarification. So
absolutely.
it's not that you walk away from these people and don't talk to them or anything. It's just how much can you tolerate because they are in that victim mode. They are
Exactly.
in that woe is me mode. They are
Yes,
in that I need attention mode,
yes,
seeking attention.
absolutely. This
It's
is about
not
boundaries. That's exactly what you're talking about right there is
boundary.
boundaries. And people will tell you that you're running. They'll see it as running, or you left them, you abandoned them. No, they abandoned themselves when they couldn't rise themselves to the occasion. Okay,
Right.
so listen, this is the hard truth of it. If you're not vibrating on the same level as your partner, your friend, whatever it is, honey, you ain't never going to get along. It ain't never going to work. It's never going to work unless you put in the work and grow and meet the other person. But you can't do that with being a victim, honey. You can't do it by being down here being a victim. You got to deal with yourself. You got to deal with it. You can't put the blame on other people. That is the common thing. Is everybody likes to blame their parents? They like to blame their parents, the society.
I
Okay,
was
it's
just thinking that the
us.
other day. Everybody's blaming their parents or how they were brought up or anything like that. But you have the choice to change that
Yes, you do.
as you grow. You can change it. You can either focus on it and look at it as being a negative, or you can grow from it and say, I'm different now, or things are different now, or, and you have that right to change. It's a choice. But, if you stay in that victim mode, and some people do truly have a difficult time getting out of that, and I understand it. And
Right.
that's where I'm going to say, please seek professional help, or
Absolutely.
there's nothing wrong with that, or
No.
see somebody who's a spiritual counselor or anything like that to be able to get that help. But don't stay in that victim mode
No.
because that was the past. That's over. You
Yes.
have that choice to change the outcome. You have the choice to better yourself. You have the choice to think differently of yourself and
Yes.
work on it.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the other thing too is, I think that one thing that I want people to know is that you do have the power to do that. We have
Right.
been put in the position where we feel like we're powerless. Like we need to run and seek out these things to fix us. But nobody ever taught us that, honey, it starts from within. And that's exactly where we're coming at from that. I'm not shaming anybody. If anybody takes it that way, honey, you need to go on and sit with yourself. That's all I'm saying, because this is coming from love. This is coming from some healing. And it's coming from places we've already been and we know. And we've
Yep.
sit with people and helped them through their own problems. But the difference is you got to be willing to help yourself before we can sit here and talk to you until we're blue in the face. But if you
Yep.
ain't willing to grow, if you ain't willing to listen and apply things to yourself, then why? I mean, you're just putting yourself in that continuous trauma loop, like Renee's talking about. So, I mean, that is what it is. You can take it how you want it, but it is really, truly how it is.
Correct. Yep. No, you're right. And it's sad. It makes me sad for those people. It makes me
Absolutely.
sad because you're giving up your own power.
Yeah.
You've given up your own power.
Yeah. Absolutely. Because when you decide to take back your power, that means that you are seeing your self-worth. That means that you are choosing to heal generational trauma. Now, I want to
Correct.
touch on that a minute, because people want to blame their parents. Baby, honey, your parents are the way that they were because their parents raised them that way. They didn't know no better. They didn't know no better. Nobody taught them. Nobody taught them how to truly be. So,
Correct.
we're lucky enough in this time to be able to address this stuff and to be able to come at it from a very loving, healing place, and know that no matter what you have been through, just remember that you are in charge of your own healing. And that means letting go of things that no longer serve you, that is poison for you. And there's different ways of doing that. I'm not saying you have to walk up to the person and say, I need an apology from you. So most of this is silence. And that is a power that people underestimate, because that means that you don't need anybody's acknowledgement to be able to heal. It means that you give yourself that acknowledgement.
Yep. It's true. Hi, Robin. And Robin said a couple of minutes ago, I no longer carry fear. I feel so much lighter. My vibrational level stays on the upper side. Guys, I
Yeah.
don't have my glasses on, so excuse my reading. Michelle said it's like the darkness. It too just wants to be accepted. Once you do, it dissipates. It's
Yeah.
just energy. Yeah. All energy seeks acceptance, and then it moves on to its role. If you love into it, it will have its needed met. What doesn't benefit from more love? She's
Yes.
right.
Amen, sister. Preach it.
Yep. We have this little boy at school who I tell all the kids, because where I'm at, we're from preschool all the way up through high school and stuff, and some of the kids are pretty wild. And there's one little boy, he just comes up and gives me a hug every day, and they believe him from the planet Zebulon.
Oh.
So I'm not normal,
Well,
and
no shit,
that,
right?
and it makes them feel like inquisitive. So they ask me. So this one little boy, he asks me all the time, what's it like on your planet, blah blah blah. So now he's protecting my planet, gives me updates every day on my planet, who's
I
trying
love
to invade it, so he's got this whole thing going. And so now he's into this role of giving me a hug and holding on and going, whisper, 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 whisper,
it.
whisper, whisper in my ear every day. And everybody looks like, so cute. What's he doing? I'm like, he's whispering. What's he whispering? Whisper. What? He's whispering whisper. And to him, and that's so I haven't been out um behind the serving line today. And so it, like, you could see the look on his face. It like really bothered him because he knew he couldn't come to the door to the kitchen to stop me from doing what I was doing. Because
Yeah.
usually I'm at the serving counter, right, where they come through and they bypass me and we do high fives, everybody, and
Yeah.
and I'll yell Happy Wednesday and make them all pop a squat, and
Yeah.
and it's because it's spontaneous, but it keeps them all going. And so the look on his face was like, really, you could see it today. You could
I
like
love that.
actually see it,
Yeah.
that it bothered him that he couldn't get that hug because I was in the middle of serving.
That healing hug, honey. We know all about it, don't we?
Yeah. And everybody's, staff is just like, oh my God, it's so amazing. I'm like, it's just because he feels he has something in common.
He feels comfortable with you. You
Weird,
make him feel
very,
comfortable and you make him feel heard. And people like
yeah,
us do that for other people. And that's the reason that you'll see us with every type of person that you can ever think
right,
of. And that's why we can go and sit with any person that we want to. And no matter how uncomfortable, positions it makes somebody feel because they're not used to that atmosphere, we'll blend right in, honey. I mean,
yeah.
it will. I mean, that's who we
Well,
are.
and that's the thing is they don't like you. You're not supposed to hug the students. You're not supposed to. You know what? If that kid comes up to me and they need a hug, I am going to give them a hug.
Exactly.
I don't
Yeah.
care. Keep the camera right on me. I don't care. You got the cameras on. That kid comes up to me. I'm not going to say, "Don't touch me." Even when
Exactly. I could never.
I had a student one time come up to me, at my other job, and he came to the kitchen. Literally came down to the kitchen and said, "Can you talk to me for a minute?" And he said, "I had a really bad night, and now I have to go to a new home." And he just kind of looked at me, and of course the cameras are all around. And COVID was going on, and he just looked at me. He started crying. He goes, "I need a hug." And I
Oh,
gave that kid, and I held him right in the hallway, and I hugged him hard, and let him cry. And I'm just like, I dare you.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
there comes a point in a time where you just say, with anybody, an adult, a kid, if somebody asks for a hug or they need one, damn
Yes.
it, give it to them
Yeah,
because,
and hold on tight, honey. Hold on tight and channel that healing energy right through because that's what we do.
yep, and the hell with the COVID and anything else that's going around, because
Yeah.
you're always protected, you're always cared
Yes.
for. Things will work out for the highest good of all.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. I feel that way. Like it's funny because everybody that hugs me, they're like, it's Holly hugs. I'm like, they're like, I just like feel so comfortable with you. I feel like I can tell you anything. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I know, I know. It's just because
Mother, my mother used to. My mother used to like laugh because as I was growing up, everybody would like start talking to me, whether I knew them or not. And my mother would be like, "Oh my God, here we go again." you know and my father's the same way though. It happens with my father, too, but he's pretty good at like giving it back, like getting on his own, little stories and
yeah,
stuff
I
with
love that.
strangers. I laugh because my mother's like, you just attract them all.
That's what
I'm
you
like, I
listen.
do.
My mom used to go every time we go in Walmart. We can't go in there without her running into somebody she knows or somebody she don't know and stands there and talks to them for about 30 minutes. I've been in the bathroom before and had random conversations with strangers. I mean, that's just how it goes.
Yep, yep. You're right, Michelle. She said right because in the middle of all of that, they were preaching restorative education.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. This is how I see the future. I don't know about you, Renee, but I've been shown it. I've been told it. I've channeled the messages. It is communities. We're going to start working in community bases, and it's going to be smaller schooling for children. We're going to see a lot of trades being taught. I know it's been out there. They've been asking for a lot of trades, but I'm talking about not just trades with carpentry and all this other stuff, but it's going to be our trades with our abilities. We're going to see
Hmm.
that in the communities. We're going to see a lot of self-sufficiency. Honey, there's been a bunch of us trying to be like really be more self-sufficient, and it's been our calling. It's been our calling for years, and it's raising our own food, learning the medicines from the earth. It's just going to be a lot more loving and compassionate and slower paced and not
I
so
think
ego
so.
driven.
I think so. And in the last probably 5 years or so, I've really changed on how I do things. I can't have a garden plot because of where I live, but I
Right.
have containers and
Yes.
totes, and I'm doing that. And my coworker got me this awesome birthday gift of gift certificate for the greenhouse at work, and I can't wait to get a hold of those big, what they call patio tomato plants. So
Yeah.
they're for potting, and they're huge. They're huge, and they just keep producing and producing. They're a special breed. And, you know, I'm like, yeah, I'm so ecstatic that
Growing
I
your
can't
own
wait.
food, it's just a good
And
feeling.
I'm still learning because it isn't in the ground; it's in these containers and
Yes.
whatnot. And then I have to fight off wildlife. Don't get me wrong. Last year I like sat there and I look and I like, well, what cat is that? Because we got a lot of feral cats sitting with my cats on the deck and the other ferals. I'm like, that's a woodchuck sleeping on the steps with the cats. I'm like, what is up with this, right? I came out the next day and that stinking thing had was sitting in my pots with my tomato plants and eating the tomatoes off the. I was so furious.
Oh.
It was on the deck in the planters, and I chipped it off and I turned to all the cats. I'm like, shame on you. I'm
Hey,
like,
it's a
I know,
learning experience,
I
though. We
that
learn.
you got to love each other and everything else. I get it, but not when they're eating the food,
Well,
and
you have to have
my food.
boundaries. This is part of boundaries.
Get me, and then they started chasing it off, away and stuff like that because I scolded them. You don't tell me they don't know what you're talking about. They
Yeah.
do.
Exactly. Me and my friend Carmen was talking about that today. She was like, I've been, because she's up in Connecticut and she's been feeding her mom, like they live, she's staying with her mom up there and there's geese up to a lake right in front of the house. And she's been secretly feeding one of the geese and her mom found out. And she's like, I mean, talk to him and he's
Yeah.
my buddy, And she's like, that sounds
Well,
crazy. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, I go
for
around
years,
talking to everything. I'm like, yeah, what are you doing, little buddy? Yeah, you're just having this
for
whole
years.
conversation. I went out and got the eggs today from the hens, and I was like, "Thank you, lady."
Yeah, yeah. For years, these two geese fly over. I call them Fred and Ethel, and they fly over and they let me know when they come in the spring, and they rock, 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 and they do flyovers and circle around my house.
Yeah,
So they're a little bit late this year, but I heard them the other night. They came in at night in the dark. I went outside and I said, "Hi, Fred. Hi, Ethel. Rock, rock, rock," and then they went over to the pond.
that's
But
so funny.
they came in at night.
Geese have been a big synchronicity lately for me. Like the past, I don't know how many days. Like I've had random people, like Dallas today. He was like, "I saw our geese at the lake," because there'll be like a pair of geese that come in every year, and like they've been coming in forever. And it's a reservoir. It's in the backwoods and the hollers. And so, and there's other instances today where it's been brought up, and yesterday. So it's interesting to see I don't know what the spiritual attributes of a goose is, but we're gonna find out.
Well, let's find out. Where did my phone go?
See, this is
There's my
what I'm
phone.
talking about with synchronicities, guys. Like if you're paying attention to everything around you, spirits always you have a compass and you have a map. And spirit gives you these synchronicities, so you'll pay attention to those things, and it will lead you to where you need to be. And it's not like we're lost; we're never truly alone, although it may feel like it sometimes. But when you trust it and you follow those synchronicities, I'm like it's amazing. It becomes this amazing world of synchronicities and just awesomeness. I'm so curious to see what this does.
So the goose, adult geese represent confidence and boisterousness. Migrating geese represent teamwork and continuing on a current path. A
Nice.
cooked goose means bounty through an ending or a transformation.
Huh. Interesting. Very.
Are you feeling blocked creatively? Having trouble hearing the call of your personal muse? Goose is a spirit totem and a power animal can help. Goose teaches you how to connect with the universe, all while showing you how to tune in to the well of creativity within. Delve deeply in goose symbolism and the meaning to find out how this animal can do. So let's take a gander, it says.
Take a gander.
Take a gander. Uh, the goose has seen global history because it's been around for some 12 million years.
Wow.
The perspective that few other creatures can claim. Goose has a ton of insights and is willing to share with those who know how to listen. In nature, geese are immensely territorial,
You know
which I've,
that.
yeah. If anything gets too close, Goose honks wildly as a warning. Come any closer and they will bite you. Uh, you can be as nice as you wish, but if a goose sees you as a threat, there is no peace offering.
Mm,
It symbolizes the warrior spirit, protection,
there,
and bravery.
there you go. There was keywords.
Yep.
There was
So
keyword.
courage. Jack and the Beanstalk with the goose had
Yes.
courage and laid the golden eggs. Jack had a vision for his life to reach his goal. He had to overcome the beanstalk and the giant. The story symbolizes one's ability to face fears and rivals bravely.
Yeah. So and what we're seeing right now in what's around is like stepping into our power, is being the warrior. So to me, that's what I mean. That screams to me and feels and resonates with me because we are having to be courageous, and that we're having and stepping in our power. It's like being the warrior. I saw not only the geese, but I'm always having spirit animal synchronicities, and what that
Mhm.
is, guys. If you see something and you feel it, you feel it in your gut when it represents something for you. Just look it up and see what it represents, and I promise you, it will align with what's going on in your world right now.
I like the site. It's called whatismyspiritanimal.com, and
Yeah,
she's really good with getting into
the depth.
um the in depth of what it is. Like she goes into the history of what it means and
Yes.
many different things. So like if goose bites association with faithful actions quite nobly. As geese migrate, some may become injured. When this happens, another goose in the flock stays with the injured bird until they can fly again or die. This is a very courageous gesture that also speaks strongly of cooperation and community. And you were just talking about community, right?
Yeah,
So when
yeah.
they fly together, they know exactly where they are going and how to get there. Here, goose represents determination, purposeful movement, and able to pilot for our life's journey. Other key traits are reliability, productivity, new ideas, joy, guidance, teamwork, quest fulfillment, watchfulness, and wisdom.
Beautiful, beautiful, Clark.
Isn't it beautiful? So yeah, so if you I always recommend, she's really good with her definitions and stuff. What is my spiritanimal.com? She is the best um,
Yeah,
when it
I
comes to
love it.
this.
I've
Yeah,
had like a lot of the tattoos that I have on my body has been like my animals. That is synchronicities that I've had in my life that impacted me. So,
really.
they can really the spirit animals are always around us to help and aid us in the spiritual realm. But I'm telling you, like once you connect with these animals, it's not so much about going up to the animals and loving on them. It's just the connection with them. It's like you can't deny it anymore. You do. Like you'll be sitting, like I was in the back. I was sitting on the porch earlier and I just like zenned out, and the birds, the crickets were so loud. The birds were all gathering around. I saw a blue jay. I saw a squirrel going up the same tree the blue jay was sitting on, and I seen this butterfly, this yellow butterfly go, and then I saw a dragonfly, which, a dragonfly is a synchronicity for me, and it has been for a while. It represents transformation.
Yes, it does. That's my entertainment company thing is Dragonfly Cove
Yes,
Entertainment,
that's right. Yes.
right? But but like on Twitter and on TikTok, I'm Barefoot Dragonfly.
Oh, I love it. I love it. See, that's I got me and Dallas actually got because we had synchronicities together. I think it's on this side or this side. But I have a dragonfly too.
Oh, yep, there it is.
Yeah. He's we got them because we had this synchronicity together. And the time that Dallas and me coming each other we would come each other's lives, it seems like there was like this level up. Like the universe had decided that you guys are going to come together and you are going to dive into your spirituality together, even deeper than we both of us, was on our separate paths, but coming together kind of triggered something in ourselves because we sit in meditation every day for the past 3 years, except for now because we are being separated because he's working on things and I'm working on things. And we're business partners and we're best friends, and that's hard, taking somebody that you've been in your life constantly every day of your life and then separating each other. So we have this brother sister deep bond. His great grandmother and my great grandmother were twin sisters. Me and Dallas's risings are Geminis.
Nice.
Like, it's crazy how the synchronicities come together, but the dragonflies is one of ours.
So my sun and rising is Aries, but my moon and Venus is Gemini.
Oh, that's interesting. How funny. I'm a Libra and I'm a Gemini rising.
So a lot of people get they ask, well, no, like when they read the horoscopes and stuff, and I know a bunch of astronomers and and astrologers I should say, that I'm friends with, and each person is different. So like, I'm an Aries, right? I'm an Aries, but not all my traits are Aries because we're a combination of whatever our other signs are within our in our core, our, I can't even think of it now, neonatal chart and our placements.
Yes, that's I'm just talking about
Aries, that. But and I'm very adventurous, but I'm also very much a thinker and
dreamer.
A dreamer, and very much of a need to research, the need to like dive in depth on things.
Yes, yep. The knowing.
Yes.
Yes. And that's the thing about a natal chart too, is like, if you go back to ancient civilizations, guys, all these civilizations used what? The stars. And they talked about God. Their gods were different, but it all was the same thing. They come from the stars. They talked about star people, different all over the board. The same concepts, but different paths and different perceptions of what they were working with. But if we look now, and especially this age, people are falling into the horoscopes. They're falling into the natal charts, because if you get into your natal chart, because of the placement of everything when you were born, that was imprinted on you. And I think it's wild for us not to be like really deep diving into the research into this, because it's obvious. Like, ancient civilizations used the stars to navigate. They used the stars to do everything. I mean, that was huge. And so it's coming back in. That's no coincidence that it's coming back in, because people are realizing that we are not from here. Like, this is not this is not where we've where we have reincarnated from time and over again on every life. Our soul has a origin.
Yep, it does. And what I found to be interesting, you talk about star placements and stuff in the sky, in the night sky. Have you noticed in the last like 5 or 6 years that like the Big Dipper and Little Dipper are at different parts of the sky than what they used to be?
Yeah, I've also noticed all the stuff in the sky too.
Yeah, there's a lot of changes that have it's like they're not in the same spot. The same with the moon. The moon rises differently, and it's up. You see it more during the day than sometimes then you see it at night.
Yes, I was just talking about that to somebody. I said, it's not setting in the right direction. I'm like, it's usually setting over there. I'm like, wait, what's that? Like, it's switching. But also too, what's really cool is I don't know, like they've talked about, and this is all theories, but on my part of it, the stuff that I've channeled some messages that are puzzle pieces always, but I've just like kept in my back pocket because I know that it's going to be validated initially.
Right.
But I had a channeled message a couple of years ago, and it kept saying when the North meets the South. So we talked about, if you guys are familiar with the polarity, the North and the South polarities, the nodes, they evidently, scientists said that they flipped, that there's a flipping. And this happens ever so often, but when that happens, things change around us and we don't even realize it's happening because it's so subtle. And I was like, spirit works in mysterious ways with mysterious messages that you have to work your ass off to understand.
Yeah, totally. Totally. That's what people don't understand too, is that sometimes, you have to really, focus and figure out the riddle,
Yes.
right? You got to
Yes.
figure out the riddle.
Yes.
Yep, I totally get that. But yeah, it's like I've noticed that in the last, 5 or 6 years. I'm like, no, no, I could step outside at night and there's the Big Dipper, there's the Little Dipper. I could stand right there at the front of my home
Yeah.
and say, look up, and there it is. Now it's over back here.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I was
And
like,
like at midnight, like the sun, the moon used to be right above me.
yes,
No, it's setting in the west already.
which is weird. I don't know. There's a lot of synchronicities in that. And there's a lot of just things that come up. Like my thoughts are going, like, you
Yeah,
start putting the puzzle pieces together, and Spirit's like, hey, you're in the middle of a live and you're putting pieces together and you're wanting to. It's crazy.
yeah,
I always tell
yeah,
everybody it's like people like us, we work a little differently because it's like we have this screen in front of us that is in our mind, and we are taking things and moving it around and trying to understand it and putting the pieces together. It's
yep.
beautiful at the end of it, but my God, let me tell you, there's a lot in here. Y'all don't want to get in these heads and minds because it's a lot.
It's a lot. Nope, I get it. Somebody said to me the other day, "Do you go around and read people's minds and thoughts?" No, it's disgusting. Like,
Exactly. It's
no,
bad enough
and
that I
there's,
have to be close to somebody and start feeling that. No,
yeah, it's a privacy thing too. It's respecting
absolutely.
boundaries. But half
Absolutely.
the people, you don't want to know what they're thinking. It's gross.
No, no, that's just that is to me, I'm like, and that's a common question. They'll say, well, what am I thinking? I'm like, I don't care what you're thinking. I don't want, it's like, people need to understand that when you're using these abilities, it takes a lot of energy. And you have to build up your body to be able to handle that energy. And that's a process in itself, and that's part of that unity of the body mind spirit, is because your light body has to be clear and healthy to be able to handle a lot of this energy that's
Right.
channeling through you. People don't get that.
Michelle said, "We don't have to read their minds; they offer it willingly."
It's true, that
It's true.
exactly. How do they tell you what? They'll tell you the whole story of their life, but I've done it too. I felt people comfortable like myself, and I'll sit there and blabber off, and I'll be like, I just told you my whole life story. And it'll be like people like us, though, people who understand. And I'm like, well, shit. Now I know how I feel.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. It's true.
It is.
Well, I think we're gonna call it quits for tonight.
It's beautiful. It sounds good.
I am so glad you came on, and you're gonna come on again. We're gonna have you on again, and maybe I won't have a cold. I'm hoping I won't have a cold.
Yeah.
Um,
Don't do that. Don't put that out in the universe, woman.
yeah, yeah. I think I'm gonna have some honey. I'm gonna take some honey in a little bit,
There you go.
lemon in it and cinnamon. But um, thank you for coming on. Thank you for spreading the joy and helping with many clarifications that so many people, I can say it, but people just don't get it. Yes.
No. Thank you for having me, sister. I love
Michelle,
you. And
I
I
love you.
hope that we shed a little light tonight and planted some seeds. And you come and join us because the water's fine, honey.
Yeah, water is fun. I'm telling you, I and I'm hoping at some point I have a lot of little trips I've got to be making now that my car is fixed. And I'm hoping that I can make it down to you
Yes,
at some point.
honey, come on. You don't even have to pay for a place to stay or
I know.
food. I got you.
Yeah, yeah. I want to come down. I need some Holly time. I think we need to merge on a couple of ideas and thoughts, and then
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I need
There's a lot of things happening.
I have to figure out when and how, but I need to make this big loop.
Yes, yes.
Make a
Spirit
big
will make it
right.
happen. Spirit's gonna
Go to
make it
New
happen.
Jersey. Yep, I got to go to New Jersey. I've got to go to Florida. I've got to hit Tennessee, and I've got to hit Virginia. So
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah, exactly. Do like I did that year. I just went around and crashed at people's houses. I was like, they were like, Holly, you can crash here. So me and Dallas went around crashing at our friends' houses across the state of Iowa. It was
nice.
fun. It was really
Well,
fun.
nice. It sounds it. I'll have Maya with me, so you know she'll be she'll be with me. I just got to figure out how and when, but I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
me too, honey. We have a calling. We got to step into that calling.
Yep, we do.
Yes.
All right, sweetheart. Thank you everybody for joining us tonight. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to read all the comments, but it's really good to be here. Next week on Friday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I have Harvey Korman's son on, Christopher Korman. Excuse me. And I'm really excited about that because if you know Harvey Korman, he was a comedian on the Carol Burnett show. And Christopher has written a book, Oh Lord, it's Harvey Korman's son. So I just received that book tonight from him, and I'm going to read that this week and touch base so we can have a good time next Friday night. But really interesting stuff. He likes to go with the flow, and he likes to be relaxed when he's on a show. So it'll be good. And if his father was a comedian, he was very close to his dad. I'm sure he's a little bit of a comedian himself. So we'll have to see how that works. But I know his father was a trip and a half to watch him on the Carol Burnett show. So I'm actually really honored that he's coming on.
Yeah.
I
That's
think it's kind
that's
of cool. Yeah, I think so. I think so because I mean it's just cool, right? I mean,
it's cool. It is
yeah,
cool. There's always a reason too. There's always a reason.
yep. So and so the show used to be all paranormal, and then it went to like spiritual, and then it's like now it's kind of like I've had musicians on, I've had you name it, just people coming on and talking about just all sorts of different things. Everybody experiences different people from all walks of life, which is really, really exciting. And
It is
maybe
exciting.
Saturday, maybe I can go live for a little bit on Saturday when I meet Sefton Paranormal for the first time in person. And they're from the UK, so maybe we can do a little bit of live stuff.
Yes, yes.
He very well could be. He could be, Michelle. He could be. We'll find out. We're going to delve into his mind and sense of humor. We're going to ask him all sorts of questions and go with it on
I
Friday
love it.
night. So please, everybody, listen in because I think it'll be really interesting. You know, I love you.
I love you, woman.
And I love all of you. I love all of you. It's good to be back. I started out on radio, and then I started doing this. So the radio had a lot of music and it had breaks. And, at halftime, it was like, it's time to shake your booty, and used to play some really good music and stuff. So I need to figure out how to incorporate all of that into this. I haven't really figured out this program fully, but I could have ran music in the background of this if I wanted to. That they have a list of stuff, and I thought, well, that would have been kind of cool, but then maybe it would have distracted a little bit too much. So I got to play with this program a little bit
Yeah,
and
it
see.
ain't hard. StreamYard's not hard because that's what I used to do all my lives on.
Is
Um,
it
yeah, it ain't hard to learn. I mean, it's just like anything else you've used over the years, except it's set up a
right?
little bit differently.
Yep. Well, when I first started out doing my show back in 13, not quite 13 years ago, 12 years ago, um, when I started out doing it, it was on Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah, oh God.
Yeah, I know, right? I did it on Blog Talk Radio for a couple of years, and then I transferred and did it under Word of Mom Radio, because she did different shows. And then I ended up going to TMV Cafe, and he still airs my shows, and I go on every now and then with him on some of his shows.
Yeah.
And then I do I did my own radio station. And so now, like I said, I'm doing the video. So
Nice.
yeah,
All
I'm
right.
just
We're going
gonna
to sit here and talk forever. 2 hours later. Bye.
I know. All right, I love you. I love you guys. Everybody take care. Have a wonderful end of the week. Have a wonderful, blessed weekend. Manifest the good. Stay positive. No such thing as positive shaming. No such thing as, you can't fake it till you make it. Yeah, 21 days. Take 21 days. Fake it until you make it 21 days. I love you guys. Take care, everybody. Namaste.